Hey guys, this is going to be a video for 12 things beginners need to know. So we're just going to go over creatures, glyphs, books, everything that you need to know jumping into the game. Alright, let's start off with number one. Number one is books. Books, they're rare. You don't really get them too often. You can farm them in these two areas. I'll show them to you really quickly. Oop. You can farm them in the Dragon Mist Islands on... I think Elemental Tower drops them. Yeah, it does in the high levels. And Tower of Houses drops them also, I think, at all levels. However, it drops much more frequently in 8, 9, 10. So that's where you want to farm it in the future, when you need to. But early on, there's no real way to get books aside from PvP, where you can use your reputation points every 3 days to buy a book, which everybody should do. Other than that, there's not really many places you can get them. So careful when you're using them, especially early on. Don't invest them into monsters that you're not going to use later on, because one book will upgrade 1 point of these skills and it's random. So for example, this creature I've got here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 upgrades there. There's 6 upgrades in that skill, there's 4 upgrades in that skill, so I need, what, 14 books or so? And also, I need 2 books just to evolve it. And I currently have 2 books in this account. So, books, you want to use them very sparingly. You don't get them too often. Number 2 is going to be energy. With energy, don't refill. You can buy refills in the shops, right over here. So, for 40 seals, you can buy 50 energy. This scales up the higher level you get. However, don't refill early on. There's no point, because you get a lot of free energy from a few sources. One source is going to be these little chests. When you open them, they have a chance to drop 10, 15, 20 energy, I think. It's really good. Sometimes you can just open a chest for a little bit of extra energy if you need to bump you up into the next level, which, by the way, that's another source of energy. Every time you level up, you get a full bar of energy, so I'll get a whole 50 energy when I level up. The easiest way to kind of make sure I do this is to save up my missions and not hand them in, and only hand them in once I've used up all my energy, and then it will bump me on to the next level and I'll get a full energy refill. Yeah. That's pretty much, those are the best ways to get energy. Another one is when you do these little events, sometimes they reward you with energy. Not this one. Pretty sure, yeah, this one does. So you get 20 energy there, 15 energy there. What happens with those is they don't go straight to your pool, they go into your mailbox. And it just sits here for 7 days usually. And you just use them when you're ready. So that's a good way to use energy. Point number 3 is going to be team composition. Early on, what you want to try and jump into is finding a good team composition. So, kind of level 10 and under, it doesn't really matter, you just want to use whatever you have. But it helps if you get good creatures earlier on, or if you get good Nat 2s earlier on. So there are a few things to look out for. The few things that you can look out for are poisoners, like for example Earth Basilisk. So he has his skill 3, which poisons. Poisoners are all really good. Generally AoE poisoners are the ones that you want to look out for. You generally also want to look out for AoE healers and AoE defense buffers. Also, pretty much anything that does AoE anything. If you want to look for AoE attack reduction guys, or AoE shielding guys, AoE blinders, AoE anything. AoE is great in this game, it really helps. Even AoE attack buffers, or AoE speed buffers, anything. AoE means area of effect for those that don't know, so if it affects all units, really useful, really great for a team composition. It'll just help you move forward. Whereas I've gone, for example, for this one, these 2 skills only target single units, and they're not very useful in my experience with it. Hasn't been very good. I would much prefer something that targets a whole bunch of enemies. Like for example, his skill hits all enemies. Even the Stone Guardian, which you start off with, his skill 3 hits all enemies and gives him a little regen, which is really nice. Alright, let's move on to point 4, which is if you happen to open a nat 3 or a nat 4, that is a creature that has 3 or 4 stars naturally when you open it. So for example, this Juggernaut, I happen to open him from a yellow stone, and he has 3 stars naturally. Whatever you do, do not sell these, or do not get rid of them, or don't feed them. 3 stars and 4 stars are always going to be good. Even if they're some of the worst ones, they're still generally better than 2 stars. Generally. Let's just go for that. Let's go for point number 5, which is PvP. Don't worry about it early on. You might get slaughtered by a couple of people who have some really cool monsters. You might not. It's kind of a, like for example, I can take out that team. Let's try and find someone that's got something cool. Nope. Just got a whole bunch of easier guys at the moment. But I've run into some people who have been lucky and have gotten some nat 4s and nat 3s. They absolutely mop the floor with you. Now, whether you win or lose, make sure you do PvP regardless, because you need the points you get from this. When you win, I think you get 5 points. When you lose, you get 1 point. The good thing is that you get points regardless, which are these reputation points, which you then want to go into the shop and go to reputation and get a book every 3 days, because this is just the easiest way to get books. Nice and simple. So, point 6, we're going to go for the 9 packs. Now, back into the shop, as a free-to-play player, what you're looking for is buying these 9 packs. You can get these 3 packs for summoning stones, but if you do the maths, it's quite simple. The value is a lot better for the 9 packs. So you want to save up enough seals early on to get your first 9 pack, and when you get 9 packs, that's when you can start summoning things, and hopefully you get lucky. That's pretty much what you want. When you summon with those yellow stones, here we go, you have chances to get 2, 3, and 4 star monsters. I'll pop up these chances here for you so you can see them really quickly. But regardless of what the chances are, you still have chances to get them. So, really good. You can generally get a nice little pool to start off with when you summon 9, and that'll help you kind of compose your team as per my previous point, which is really good. So, next point, glyph sets. For glyph sets, you'll notice that each of the different stages that you farm have different types of glyphs. So for example, I've equipped vitality glyphs over here for my water harpy. Now, you'll notice that every 3 glyphs I equip, they get a glyph bonus. These bonuses are huge early on, really huge. 20%, none of these even give close to 20%. So I mean, you really want to use glyph bonuses for your creatures early on. Make sure you match the glyphs, really important. We're going to go for step 8, which is types of glyphs. Now, don't stress about these early on, really not super important. It's more important to kind of complete the sets, like, for example, crit's not really that great here, but it's all I really had at the time. I put HP glyphs on her as well. She needs attack, to be honest, but this is kind of what I had, so that's what she gets. It completes the set. It gives her in total a 40% health boost, which is really good, and it'll just make her live so that she can help me farm my early stages until I get better glyphs and I can just put them on. Really nice and simple. Don't stress about glyphs early on. You're not going to be using any of these into the late game. The only time that you really should be caring about them too much is, like for example, you don't want to be putting accuracy or resistant glyphs on anyone sort of early on, and maybe later on when you pass 25 and you're starting to pick out some good yellow glyphs to start leveling up, that's when you generally want to put on speed glyphs for your hexes, and for the squares and teardrops you want to use either attack, defense, or HP generally. Early on you don't really want to worry about accuracy or resistance too much, unless you get something like a water dragon which relies heavily on accuracy, then you probably should. But other than that, you're good to just focus on health, defense, and damage. Really nice and simple, with the exception of the first 2 glyphs, which would generally be speed. But you can totally sub them out for anything else if you want to. Now, next one is if you're stuck. So, early on in the game, for example, I'm level 10 at the moment, I think? Yeah, I am. So, early on in the game, what happens is I can't go into Sunken City because my guys suck at the moment. They just can't deal with what's there. So, I don't. I go back to Floating Islands, and I've been farming Floating Islands. So what this will do is this will level up my guys. It'll also give me some chances to get some better, not yellow, some better green glyphs, and I can upgrade my green glyphs. So that will help me then go back to Sunken Sea later on and progress, which I'm probably ready to go there now, but I just haven't gone there yet. So yeah, if you get stuck at one of these stages, which you will, then remember, just go back to one of the earlier stages, farm for experience, also go into your creatures and glyph up your creatures, and don't be afraid to upgrade your glyphs. I'd probably say don't go past maybe level 7 or 10. I wouldn't go past level 10 on these early glyphs. You can, but I'd advise not to. So I'd say level 10 is as far as you want to level these guys up early on in the early game. It's just not worth it going past that. Now, next step is, point number 10, was guilds. Join a guild. They're really good. Guilds provide quests. I'm not a part of one yet. I'll find one soon. Guilds provide quests, and the quests are quite good. They provide potions, they provide tickets, they provide PvP energy, they provide just normal energy to use. They're really good. The problem is that to start these quests, you have to contribute generally an amount of crystals, and it might be a large amount. So what you generally want to do is not contribute a huge amount. I'd say generally limit yourself to about 50k to 100k crystal contributions each time, and as long as everyone else in the guild contributes, you should eventually be able to start the quest. But make sure you don't go over that, because you'll feel the burn of contributing too many crystals far too often if you go way over the limit, the 50k, 100k limit. So keep that in mind. But join a guild early on; they're really good. Point number 11 is going to be potions. You'll find that when you do guild quests, when you do normal quests, when you use tickets, you're going to get potions. Now, potions simply level up your guys. So if I go upgrade here, and if I go upgrade level, you'll see I have all these potions ready. Now, potions are great. You spend a little bit of crystal, and then use a bunch of potions. It'll level up these early fodders for me really quickly. It just helps me get my guys to 3-star earlier on, or maybe 4-star. It's really a great way to level up your guys. Make sure you use your potions frequently when you're starting off, because it'll just help you progress a lot quicker. It'll help you get 3 stars quicker, it'll help you get 4 stars quicker, and that'll just help you progress naturally, more fluidly into the later content. Point number 12, which I've mentioned a few times, is tickets. What do tickets do? Well, tickets combined with energy let you simulate. So when you get tickets, you generally want to use it on point number 7, because this has a chance to give you any of the types of glyphs, unless you specifically want one type of glyph. Like, say for example you have a whole bunch of hexes and a whole bunch of squares, and then you only want teardrops, then feel free to pick number 5, simulate it, and it takes up energy as well as tickets. Now, the bad thing about this is it doesn't really it doesn't give your creatures direct experience. It gives you a bunch of potions, which is good, but it doesn't do much else. So it'll give you glyphs, it'll give you a whole bunch of other things. I'll give you a quick example, because why not? Okay, here we go. We'll go for point number 7, because I'm not looking for a specific glyph, and we'll use it 9 times. So it's a whole bunch of energy. That's also another negative of it. So you don't want to use it too much if you're low on energy, because it's just going to drain a whole bunch of energy early on, and you don't really need that. The good thing about it is it does give you potions. Potions help you level up your guys, and it gives you quick glyphs. It also has a chance to drop other things like energy tickets and gives you crystals, seals. Also drops fragments sometimes as well, which are the soul stones. But yeah, it gives you a whole bunch of things. It's your choice whether you use it or not. If you're free to play, you may only want to use it just for the standard 2 per day for the sake of getting the mission done, but you might not want to use it more than that because it does get expensive for energy, and if you don't have that extra income to refill your energy, then you're going to run into issues. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. That should kind of answer a lot of questions for you about what you should or shouldn't do early on. Hope the video's okay, guys. Thank you.